that was definitely a pivotal moment for me in obviously my swimming career, but also in my life, kind of introducing me to that Paralympic movement and what it means to be a Paralympian. Because I think, you know, not everyone can win medals, gold medals and things, but just to say you are a Paralympian, you've represented your country at Paralympic Games is special. So yeah, I think for me that was really the pivotal moment. But for me, I always enjoyed swimming with able-bodied swimmers, just because it pushed me to that next level. But in terms of, I guess, the para community, because that's what it is, it's a community.
That's good.
I think that's what I really found in the world of para swimming. It was that community. I wasn't the outlier, if that makes sense. You know, everyone had similar stories to me. Everyone had those kind of adversities, those bumps in the road that they've had to overcome with their physical health.
So tell us about that then, with regards to your disability, what it is, and when you actually found out, and I guess, you know, how did you deal with it? Because it must be hard.
Around this time, I was going through my diagnosis and a lot of health struggles. So, you know, looking back, you know, my mental health wasn't great. It wasn't in a good place, to be honest with you. So I got my diagnosis, I think it was kind of late 2007, early 2008. And I remember kind of, obviously it was difficult, but I don't think I could fully process it in that moment. I think it took me a little bit of time. And I think what really hit me was, you know, I said to my consultant, well, what's going to happen? What's the future going to look like? And he said, you know what, Ollie, I don't know.
Hey guys, are you feeling burnt out or wanting a quick break away from the daily grind? Well, our friends over at Cyro Boca Place offer the ultimate destination for those seeking a blend of luxury wellness, adventure and restoration. If you know me, you know I'm fully invested in health and wellbeing. So if you don't prioritize yourself first, how are you supposed to be showing up for others around you? Looking for an experience like this, head over to www.cyrohotels.com. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Your Life Beyond the Boardroom. I am your podcast host, Luke Beastall. We are in the studio today with a very, very, I have to say, not only inspirational guest, but someone that has gone from being at the pinnacle of their sporting career as a GB Paralympic champion, gold at the games both in London and Rio. He's a local Mansfield guy. We went to the same school together, and we're going to be talking about stuff that actually said to us that he's not actually shared on this level before. So really excited to be welcoming, just going to introduce him in a second, Ollie. We've also got Ollie behind the camera as well. So Ollie obviously has now turned into being a financial advisor, so there'll be a little bit that we'll talk about that as well. But honestly, this is going to be such an open conversation. We're going to go deep. We're going to share stuff that I think will be so insightful and relatable to a lot of you guys tuning in to this episode. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Ollie into the studio. Welcome in, buddy.
Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Honestly, I mean, I know that we'd obviously spoken, we went to the same school together, we'd sort of passed each other, and then we just sparked a conversation on LinkedIn, and this is the beauty of social media, how connected you can. Here we are in the studio shooting, it's mental.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to have you in, it's going to be epic.
No, thank you for having me, mate. Yeah, like you say, it was, obviously we went to the same school from the same area, live in the same area now, which obviously is strange, but you know, it's, we kind of crossed paths and things, and yeah, like you say, just connected on LinkedIn, and just went from there, really.
I know, we crossed paths just like running on the trails, you out with your dogs, and it was just simply just, oh, here we are, you know. Okay.
Meant to be,
Yeah, definitely. And I think, obviously, seeing you from being local, again, going through this amazing, swimming, athletic journey as a Paralympic. I mean, obviously, you didn't start out as a champion, but you become champion. You're a local legend, basically. I mean, I'm sure you've had people say that term before.
I have, to be fair. No, thank you very much, mate. I appreciate that.
What do you say when people sort of go, you're just a local legend?
You know what? To be honest with you, and obviously we're going to deep dive into the story today, and like you say, there's a few stories and things that I've not really kind of openly spoken about in much detail. But you know, for me, swimming has been a part of my life since I was well, as long as I can remember,
Sure.
essentially. So, it's so normal to me. Even now, I've kind of obviously stepped away from the sport. It's so normal to me to be a swimmer, and it's just something I've done for my whole life. So, it's almost a bit strange when people say that to me, because, like I say, it's just so normal, and it's just what I've always done. But yeah, it's great to know, obviously, that through my sport and things, people have been inspired and taken something from that.
Yeah, I like that, and just the way that you said it's always been part of your life from as early as you can remember. You've never deemed it as attaching or being anything. It's just part of you.
Yeah.
It's part of your life, and obviously, I guess from a young age, it would have been your family just taking you to swimming. I mean, I'm talking from experience, obviously, with our daughter, just taking her swimming, stuff like that. When would you say that, if you can remember a moment with the conversation with your parents, when it became that there was something in you, there was this talent that Ollie could go somewhere?
Yeah. Well, I think firstly, so I started swimming, really early days. I think parents probably got me in the water when I was probably about 1.
Yeah, sure.
So I went through all kind of my badges scheme and did all of that, and I had a passion for being in the water. I loved being in the water. I can't remember this, but my mum tells me, my granddad taking me to swimming, and I would kind of climb out of the pool and go to the deep end and jump in and things. So from a really young age, I just loved being in the pool. I've got an older brother, Sam, as well. Obviously, we're going to talk a bit about him as well, because he's important for my story, but who also obviously went into swimming. So really fortunate that my parents pushed that, and for me now, I'm passionate about kids getting, well, not even kids, just anybody that can't swim getting that opportunity to learn to swim, because I think it's such an important life skill. First got in the water, worked my way through the badges scheme, and I joined my first club, Sutton Ashfield Swimming Club, when I was probably about 7.
Right.
So I was quite young when I first started, kind of going through the training and started to do local competitions and things. But I think for me, the real kind of turning point moment was watching Sam in Beijing. So so obviously he's a Paralympian as well himself. So he's 4 years older than me, and I was really fortunate at the time. All those years back in 2008, my parents, they said, "Look, Ollie, we're going to take you to Beijing. We're going to go and support your brother." I'll be honest, at that time, it was probably the last thing I wanted to do, fly halfway around the world to watch my older brother swim.
What was the reason, though, that you didn't want to sort of go there? What was up?
I think for me it was, I was a typical kind of 11-year-old kid. I was focusing on other things, but also we'll talk about my disability, I'm sure, in a bit more detail. But around this time, I was going through my diagnosis and a lot of health struggles. So, looking back, my mental health wasn't great. It wasn't in a good place, to be honest with you. I just didn't fancy flying halfway around the world to watch my brother, to be honest with you. But it's something that I'm so grateful for now, because that was definitely a pivotal moment for me in obviously my swimming career, but also in my life, kind of introducing me to that Paralympic movement and what it means to be a Paralympian. Because I think not everyone can win medals, gold medals and things, but just to say you are a Paralympian, you've represented your country at Paralympic Games is special. I think for me that was really the pivotal moment, actually seeing Sam in Beijing winning that gold, standing on top of the podium, and it made it even more special because he was still at home at the time, so I got to see all the hard work, training, everything that he was putting into it, and it really inspired me to say, actually, I want to go and try and do that myself.
Right. So just backtracking. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, that's amazing. Obviously, your brother being in it as well. Yeah. It's always nice to, I guess, have a little bit. Would you say your brother was a role model for you in some way?
Yeah. I mean, I don't like to give him too much credit.
Does he know that?
He does. Yeah. To be fair, now
plugging him in. Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely paved the way for me.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely, and massive inspiration. Massive inspiration for me.
Did you have competition with each other, or was you really sort of friendly about it? What was it like?
Oh, mate. I mean, not just in swimming, but growing up, we were competitive about everything.
Yeah.
Like whether it was in the pool, first to the car, first to the biscuit tin, it did not matter.
Shot gun.
We were just competitive. We had to be first. So we'd got that kind of competitive rivalry between us anyway. But yeah, once obviously I started getting a little bit better and kind of coming onto the international scene and things, we were racing kind of head to head with each other,
Yeah.
which was it was intense. But you know, looking back now, I feel so fortunate that I got that opportunity to actually, like, say, I raced my brother at Paralympics.
That's insane.
For instance, in London, in the 400, we actually got to stand on the podium together as well, which was really cool.
It was up top.
Neither of us actually. Yeah, so it was a swimmer from China that won the gold medal. I came second, and then he came third.
But you were still above him. You gave him a little dig there.
Yeah.
I beat you.
And then actually, funnily enough, 4 years later, because Yinan, who won, we'd kind of raced each other a little bit before, and then obviously on to the next games. I won the gold medal in Rio, and then it was two Chinese swimmers that got silver and bronze, so it almost like flipped from London, which was quite funny. But,
but I'm saying 4 years is a long time. We're going to go into that, but you said something quite early on in what you shared there about you struggling mentally, and it was the diagnosis part. So tell us about that then, with regards to your disability, what it is, and when you actually found out, and I guess, how did you deal with it? Because it must be hard, as a young kid as well.
Yeah, no, it was really difficult. I guess even going back further than that. So my brother, when he was born with something called talipes, or club foot, which is commonly known as. All that means is basically his feet were like turned in like that.
Okay.
So from very early on, he had a surgery. His ankles were fused, so he couldn't point his toes. So Sam had always, quote unquote, had a disability from a really young age.
Okay.
Well, from being born. He was later then, probably when he was about 10 or 11, diagnosed with something called muscular dystrophy. So basically muscular dystrophy, it's a very kind of umbrella term, but at a high level, it affects the function of your muscles, essentially. So your muscles don't work as they should. So you get kind of progressive muscle weakness, muscle wasting, coordination issues, things like that. So he was diagnosed with that at about 11. But for me, from the moment I was born, I was seemingly able-bodied, really active.
Okay.
Yeah, really active as a kid. My parents obviously got me involved in swimming, but I was involved in football, athletics, like anything that I could do, I would get involved in. I was quite an active kid. And then it was probably about 2007, I first noticed that I was getting a lot of knee pain and hip pain. Obviously, I told my parents, and typical answer said it's growing pains. It'll pass. You're that age, and it makes sense. Not really knowing any other, kind of just left it. And then probably 2-3 months later, I said, "Mum, can you look at my leg? I don't think it's right." And essentially, what had happened? So my leg's wonky. Essentially, what had happened? The growth plate in this side of my knee. It kept growing. Growth plate in this side had fused.
Okay.
So it stopped growing essentially, and it was growing wonky. So obviously my mum said, "Oh my God," and we need to get this looked at. So I was very quickly kind of seen by an orthopedic surgeon, who said to me, it happens sometimes. It's relatively common. We'll do a pretty simple surgery. We'll put a plate in your knee. 6 months' time, you'll be fine. We'll take the plate out, and your leg will have corrected itself, and then you'll be fine. 6 months later, I went to see the surgeon. It had actually gotten worse. And my symptoms kind of outside of my knee were progressively getting worse. I was getting very fatigued. Things that I would take for granted normally were becoming more difficult. I remember just being really frustrated with writing at school, because it would take, a paragraph in my hand. I was really struggling.
Really?
I couldn't write. I was cramping up and things like that.
So it was affecting the whole body?
Yeah. So
even just from the knee and hip?
Yeah. So I mean, at this point, I didn't have my full diagnosis, so we didn't know fully what it was. But it started with the knee stuff, and like I say, these symptoms were progressively getting worse. And with this kind of 6 month period mark where, the surgery hadn't worked, essentially, kind of put two and two together and said, I think actually we need to get you to see a neurologist and investigate this further. A couple of months of tests and things like that, and meeting the consultant, it turns out that I did have the same condition as Sam, and I'd got this disability. Yeah, so I got my diagnosis, I think it was kind of late 2007, early 2008. And I remember kind of, obviously it was difficult, but I don't think I could fully process it in that moment. I think it took me a little bit of time. And I think what really hit me was, you know, I said to my consultant, well, what's going to happen? What's the future going to look like? And he said, you know what, Ollie, I don't know. I don't know. They couldn't give me a prognosis. They couldn't tell me how it was going to progress, you know, what it was going to look like in kind of 10, 20, 50 years' time. They just didn't have those answers, unfortunately. And I think it was from that not knowing what my future would be like, what opportunities I would get, you know, what my life would look like, and what quality of life would look like, particularly in that moment. So yeah, it was really, really difficult. And at this point, like I say, I was a really active kid, got involved in all different sports and things and activities. I'd got kind of two big dreams. Obviously, footballer, I wanted to play midfield with Paul Scholes. That was one of my dreams for Man United.
United fan, love that. Fellow United fan, yeah.
Yeah, obviously we've got that in common as well. But also Michael Phelps was my hero growing up.
Yeah, sure,
Massive inspiration. So I wanted to go to Olympic Games, represent my country, and, you know, I wanted to race Michael, to be honest with you, and get that opportunity. So growing up, those were the two dreams that I had, really. And then obviously this diagnosis came, and carpet was almost pulled from underneath my feet. And yeah, not really knowing what opportunities I would get, what my life would look like. So yeah, it was a difficult time, really difficult time.
How old, you said you was 11?
Yeah, it was
right. So
12, yeah.
Okay then. So your mum and dad had obviously gone through this before with your brother.
Yeah.
Have they ever said anything to you that was it different the second time round for them? Knowing, I guess they comforted you and obviously knew that.
Yeah.
Look, you know,
I think, to be honest with you, mate, at that period of time, obviously it was a shock and it was difficult for me, but I think it was even more difficult for my parents.
Right.
And they definitely said it was more difficult the second time round with me. And, you know, it leads to, you know, typical questions, you know, is it my fault? You know, and it just these things
to blame themselves.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, of course.
100%. And, you know, as a parent, you want the best for your child.
100%,
and, you know, health is at the top of that list, essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was difficult for them, really, really difficult for them to kind of get over that. But yeah, I mean, I was fortunate. It kind of fell at the time. Obviously, Sam was going through all the training for Beijing and things like that. So
I guess being exposed to that, then seeing your brother be able to really go against what the life challenges is, obviously disability, and seeing what the potential you could do, that I guess gave you hope. It gave you a lot that is possible.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll be honest, I think before I'd experienced it, I was completely oblivious to his struggles, everything that he'd had to overcome to achieve that. But yeah, it was difficult. But yeah, like you say, having that blueprint and say, actually, there is opportunities that I can still achieve. I can still, you know, be that inspiration and you know, just do good in life and really kind of push myself to achieve something.
Yeah.
But I think, like I say, prior to my diagnosis and going to Beijing and things, obviously I saw Sam training and on a day-to-day basis, and I did go to competitions and watch him compete and things, but I don't think I had that appreciation for the Paralympics as a whole.
Sure.
And kind of the stories behind the athletes.
Okay.
So I always say that moment, you know, when I landed in Beijing, you know, the Chinese people really embraced the games. They really embraced people with disabilities, and they made it really special games. Actually, it was really good. I fell in love with the Paralympic movement from that day. From the moment we landed in China and watched Sam kind of compete and win his gold medals, I fell in love with the movement as a whole.
Yeah.
And I knew, okay, this is something that I want to be involved with. This is something that I feel is that kind of vehicle that can push change in society and all those kind of things. And also I can achieve, I can push myself to achieve something special. So yeah, definitely was pivotal moment for me.
I can tell, because you've said it on a few occasions now about it being a pivotal moment, it being life changing. Just did it bring you and your brother closer together?
I think it probably did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it probably did.
Because I'm not. I don't want to say this in a wrong way, and just for the audience, sort of listening and viewing it in. I've just heard people put like a throwaway comment saying, you know, if they've got a disability, it feels like it's took a part of their life in a way. I don't mean that in a horrible, but you know, it's sort of like well, it's all right for you because you know you've got a normal life or whatever, right? So obviously, you just said there earlier on about you didn't truly appreciate the Paralympic Games until you sort of was in it, and obviously then you got diagnosed. So it's not that though. Obviously, you turned it into a superpower, but for you, what? Like I know it's hard because what did you have to sort of go through feeling wise? Because I guess for you, did you feel like your life, like, because maybe you as a young guy, you know, like say you're active, you felt not normal, but you know, and then that just sort of come into your life. The mentor, you know.
It definitely, like I say, it pulled the rug from under my feet, and that identity piece, like who am I? I mean, at that age anyway, for anybody, you know, there are those questions, and obviously you're going through changes and lots of things are happening, so it's normal to kind of go through that identity piece anyway. But I had kind of the disability thing thrown on top, so it was challenging. It was really, really tough. I think swimming was a massive blessing for me. Like I say, in school, I could have had the worst day. I was struggling with my writing, struggling getting upstairs, like really basic things, just not feeling great. And then I would go to training after school, I would get in the water, and I would come out of swimming feeling better than I did when I got in. And it really was that kind of release for me where I could just forget about everything, my diagnosis, all these things that are going on outside of in my life. When I got in the pool, it was just kind of, it cleared my headspace, and it really made me focus on me and what I wanted to achieve. And I think kind of more latterly going into London 2012, I really took that on board as a bit of almost like a responsibility that this is a good vehicle to like push change within society of how people with disabilities are viewed, essentially. I think London 2012 obviously was massive in doing that and changing people's perceptions and what someone with a disability can achieve. But I think I remember just being really stubborn back then and thinking, you know what, I'm not going to let this beat me.
That's great.
I'm going to throw myself. I absolutely threw myself into swimming, and it saved me essentially. It really gave me that outlet to be able to achieve and kind of really push myself. I would say I was really fortunate with the people around me. I think my parents at that time, looking back, were amazing. They supported me in everything that I wanted to do, like all the dark days where, you know, just getting out of bed was a struggle. They were there to support me, to push me, and they knew that I had this love for swimming. So they kind of, you know, used that as a vehicle for me to achieve and really, you know, get something out of my life. I was really fortunate actually with school. They supported me. I mean, it might have helped that Sam kind of already came through and
they witnessed the journey. It's good for the school though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, it's sort of like this is our homegrown sort of calibre of talent coming through. It's good.
But you know, it was difficult at times, and I think looking back as well, obviously, you know, I used to play football. I couldn't do that anymore. That was kind of taken away from me. Friends were off, you know, doing things at the park and running around, and, you know, just little things like that I'd previously taken for granted, all of a sudden were, I could still do them, but it was more difficult, and there was kind of more obstacles and more things to think about. But yeah, it was definitely the people around me in that moment, particularly when I first got my diagnosis, that really kind of propped me up and kept me going.
I was going to say, so we'll go into sort of that environment of the people around. How did swimming change for you though when you had been told that you've got this disability? Because I'm guessing at that time you was just around people that
able-bodied,
able-bodied people. And then did you then go into a different group? How did that? Because obviously for you, I mean, what was it like walking in on that first swimming lesson and?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a good question. I mean, so for me, kind of looking forward, I've always swam with able-bodied swimmers.
Yeah.
And it's something that's
good.
You know, I'm relatively mildly affected. so physically I could do it. But for me, I always enjoyed swimming with able-bodied swimmers, just because it pushed me to that next level. But in terms of, I guess, the para community, because that's what it is. It's a community.
That's good.
I think that's what I really found in the world of para swimming. It was that community. I wasn't the outlier, if that makes sense. Everyone had similar stories to me. Everyone had those kind of adversities, those bumps in the road that they've had to overcome with their physical health. Look very different kind of from person to person, but I think there was just that level of understanding and being able to relate to that person a little bit more. So obviously I wasn't necessarily training with these people on a day-to-day basis, but coming to competitions and things like that, training camps, just being in that environment, it was my community essentially. And I'd found a place where I'd gone from something that was very difficult, actually, I'm going to turn it into a positive, and I'm around a load of other people that have done the same. So it was just really inspiring, to be honest with you. And I think when I first came into it, the likes of Ellie Simmons and these kind of big names in para sport, actually seeing them up close in person, because obviously I've been in swimming, so I know it's a tough sport, but you throw on a disability on top of that, it's tough. It's really tough. So actually being able to see that firsthand, was really inspiring. And like I say, it gave me that community, that feeling that I wasn't on my own. It wasn't just me.
Accepted. That's really good. What's just, if you look at it now upon reflection, what's one thing that you would see now as like a trait in a Paralympic person that probably is not underrated, but probably not seen enough or felt enough in terms of like whether it's discipline or whether it's hard? What would you say?
It's a good question. I think probably with the nature, obviously with the impairments and things, I would say resilience.
Really?
I think honestly you've got to be really, really resilient. Obviously different athletes have different nature of impairments, but for instance, for me, because it's progressive, because it's kind of, I have my good days, I have my bad days.
Yes.
There are a lot of things that I couldn't control, that were obviously out of my control.
So when you just say that out of your control, so you could have just rocked up for a competition on the day, biggest day of your career, and you could have a bad day.
Yeah.
So how do you get around that?
Absolutely. So one of the quotes and something that was really drilled into us, it was our old performance director. He would say, control the controllables. Don't worry about everything else. Don't worry about those things that you can't control. When we look at swimming, you've got one lane. You can only control how fast you can go up and down, or what you're doing on a daily basis, and what you're putting into it. Can't control what anybody else was doing, what somebody in China was doing. So it's not worth worrying about. Just focus on what you can control. And for me, I guess looking with my health and employing that mindset, okay, I'm going to do everything that I can to be the best athlete, to put me in the best place that I can be health-wise. But there are going to be things that are out of my control, that, these things happen. But I've got good people around me. I built that resilience over the years from pushing through kind of these obstacles. And I understood that. So if it came to the day, something went wrong, so I wasn't feeling good, my health wasn't great, there's nothing I can do about that. But mentally, I trained myself so that I could cope with it almost. There's a story actually with Michael Phelps and his coach. He would often, when he kind of went to lower level competitions, Bob would purposely stand on Michael's goggles and break them just before his race, because it's something that he couldn't control. But actually, you need to go and race. You need to deal with it.
Right.
So then when it comes a time where something really is out of your control, they've already trained themselves, and we've already kind of practiced of not letting it overwhelm you, not letting it affect your performance. Okay, this has happened. What am I going to do to make it better?
Yeah.
And having that mindset.
Brilliant. I like this part. So that would be quite. Whoa! How do So what was your sort of race day routine like? What got you prepared?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it wasn't really just the day. I think it was, obviously it's the lead up to it and training. And for me, I I journaled quite a lot
Okay.
of my training, purely because, you know, you go through 6-week training block or whatever. It's very difficult to kind of remember what you've done.
Right.
6 weeks ago, you could have had a really good session.
Yeah.
You've forgotten about it. So a lot of the times...
Is that what they recommended, or you just did that off your own back?
It's just something that worked for me, to be honest with you.
Right.
I mean, I would recommend it to
yeah,
younger
I didn't know whether
athletes,
your coach had said...
no, to be honest with
journal,
you. It kind of spawned from... I guess we have to keep a good kind of log of our training anyway for British swimming and things like that on kind of a weekly basis. So I just went a bit more granular with it, and, you know, just documented Thursday morning, had a great set, you know, felt really good on, you know, back end of my swims, you know, just documenting little things like that. So when it came to the race day, when we were kind of in that lead up, I could look at that and it would give me confidence.
Yes.
Actually,
Yeah,
I've done the work, I've got it in the bank.
Yeah.
Now's the fun bit, right? We're going to go and show the world what I can do, essentially.
Yeah.
But for me, it was really simple. So we had, obviously, a warm up routine that we would do, and I worked quite closely, particularly more latterly in my career, with, you know, physiologists and things like that, and we really put a robust kind of warm up plan and things like that. But for me, it was just about, like I say, keeping calm, thinking back on all the stuff that I'd done previously, all the work that I'd done with my coaches. And I just viewed it as, look, this is the chance for me to show the world what I can do.
Sure.
And that was my mindset going in. Control the controllables.
Yeah.
You know, I was never one that kind of had like superstitions or anything like that particularly. But it was just kind of making sure mentally you're ready, you're confident in what you've done, so that on race day it just kind of it comes out really.
Yeah, I think it's clear to see you're very reflective. Obviously, you want to know that you've got that in, like you said, in the bank to see that, okay, I've done everything I possibly can. Yeah, like I say, it's showtime now. Let's enjoy it. 100%. So in your sort of sport, then, was there anybody that you could pick out? That I'm not saying you have to plug them in. You might want to plug them in on this show that was an influence to you. That somebody that you'd want to say thank you, I'm grateful, and maybe they was a big part of your.
Yes, good question. I think probably my coach would be the biggest one. So Glenn, my coach, I'd been with Glenn since the beginning of my career.
Okay.
And we'd often talk about like this coach-athlete relationship and how that looks, and how, you know, the best way to, because ultimately we're both going for the same goal. We want me to achieve the best performance and try and win gold medals.
Of course.
How do we work together to do that? So, you know, that coach-athlete relationship, it changed over time. Often we would joke that Glenn was like my second dad, because honestly there would be many a time that... Even
outside of the swimming pool?
Yeah, we'd spend time outside of the swimming pool, and we really valued that relationship. I mean, even now he's a close friend, like even though I stepped away. But I guess from like a performance perspective, as a young athlete, how we worked together looked very different, obviously, from when I got a bit older. So when I was a younger athlete, he was taking a lot of the responsibility with performance-related kind of decisions. And then kind of as I got older, more experienced, you know, a more mature athlete, that kind of transitioned. Obviously, I was more responsible for those performance decisions, and I was really kind of driving that then. But yeah, definitely, I think Glenn has been, you know, instrumental in my career. Would be, you know, doing him a disservice. I wouldn't have achieved what I achieved if it wasn't for Glenn. And I think he was always somebody that was willing to go over and beyond for me to achieve my dreams.
Brilliant.
You know, nothing was too much for him to help me achieve that performance. And I think particularly looking at those years from like London 2012 to Rio,
4 years.
It's a long time. A lot can happen, but, you know, and he would say the same. We can confidently say we left no stone unturned during that period.
Yeah.
And we did absolutely everything that we could, so that when it got to that day, you know, 4 years later in Rio, I was the best athlete that I could, mentally, physically. I was the best prepared to go and deliver that performance.
Fantastic, mate. What did Glenn help you with the most?
It's a great question. Sounding board, I think.
Okay.
Honestly, a sounding board.
Yeah.
He was more than a coach. He was a friend, psychologist, therapist at times, you know.
Wearing multiple hats.
Yeah, absolutely. He was there for me, kind of the worst days, the best days, and I think probably a nice story to kind of encapsulate, you know, how that was. So going back to London 2012, so when you're going into an Olympic or Paralympic Games, obviously the first thing you need to do is qualify. That's kind of the first tick in the box. So for London 2012, obviously home games, massive occasion for athletes.
Oh, I can imagine.
Up and down the country.
Well, you want to do it at your home,
yeah,
don't you?
Absolutely. I mean, it'd been such a build up to London 2012, and you know there'd been so much hype and build up. We were doing the trials in London at the Aquatic Centre. So we went down as a squad. There was a few of us competing. I felt in really good shape, best shape that I'd ever felt in my life. We'd just been to South Africa for a training camp and spent kind of 3-4 weeks in the sun, just focusing on swimming. So I was really kind of in a good place. I swam on day one, the 400 freestyle, which was probably my best event. Hit the qualifying time, fastest time in the world. Yeah. Beat my brother.
Ha.
So
I dropped that one. I beat my brother.
That was obviously the top of the list. So seemingly I'd achieved this dream, this goal of qualifying, going to a Paralympics, a home games. You know, my friends, family, all these people that have kind of supported me along the way were going to be there to support me and be there in the crowd to watch me. So it was really special. But I'd got other events. I wanted to swim at the games, so obviously it wasn't job done. So I'd got the 100 backstroke the following day. So I obviously went back to the hotel, rested, came back the next day, went through my warm-up routine, still obviously on a massive high from the day before. Went to go and kind of put my racing suit on, do my final preparations, and I ended up slipping on poolside, landing on my wrist and fracturing my wrist. Literally at the trials for the games. So I'd gone from on top of the world the day before to literally being on the floor the next day, not knowing if I would get that opportunity, not knowing if, you know, because the selection panel, they could have turned around and said, look, we don't know if you're going to be fit. You've got 3-4 months. This was like late April time, so we'd not got long until the games. So again, there was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of things that were out of my control. And I'll be honest, you know, I had a conversation with Glenn, and I said, you know what, Glenn, I think I'm going to give up. I just, you know, it's not meant to be. That lasted for about 10 minutes.
I was going to say, obviously you're going to feel a bit that way.
Yeah, absolutely. But he was the one, he said to me, look, Ollie, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. I'm going to be honest with you. But we've worked too hard. We've done too much. We've overcome too much to let this beat us. We're not going to let this beat us. This is insignificant in comparison to what we've already overcome. So we're going to put a plan in place. We're going to get those people around you that are going to help you do that and help build that. And we're going to go for it. And, you know, for me in that moment, like I say, it could have been really easy for me to just walk away and say, you know what, wasn't meant to be, gave it my all, is what it is. But Glenn was really the one that kind of refocused my mind and almost reminded me of what it means to me and why I'm doing it, going back to that why. Seeing Sam all those years back in Beijing, you know, overcoming what he had overcome to achieve his dream. I wanted that moment. I wanted to experience that. So obviously we couldn't swim for the rest of the competition, so we kind of went home. I was lucky that I went to see a really good surgeon. British Swimming got me to see a really good surgeon. He looked at me and said, you know what, it's not as bad as it could be. And we can put a bespoke plan together and we can get you back in the water. So we had quite a unique opportunity in 2012. We didn't usually get this. We've got a second opportunity to qualify for the games about 6 weeks later. And it was just Project Sheffield, because the second trials were in Sheffield after that moment. So we, you know, kind of a couple of days after I'd come back from London and I'd first broken my wrist. You know, I was in the gym doing what I could in the gym with my S&C coach. Right, okay, am I ready to get in the water? Just doing leg kick to start with. Okay, then I was in swimming with one arm, and then I think it was probably about maybe 2 days before those second trials in Sheffield, I'd taken that splint off and swam normally as it was. And then I swam at the second trials. Obviously, I didn't do PBs or anything, didn't kind of rip any trees up, but I managed to qualify in those other events that I didn't get the opportunity to swim in London.
What were you feeling like at that moment?
Honestly, I think looking back on it now, I'm more proud of that and that period than the medals.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the reason, you think?
I think it would have been very easy for me to look for a way out. It would have been very comfortable for me to just say, it's not meant to be. I gave it my all. I'll try again in 4 years or call it a day. But going back to that conversation with Glenn and going back to that why was it all those years back I wanted to achieve this? And for me, like I said, the Paralympics are a vehicle to drive, societal change around people with disabilities. But I wanted to prove to myself and, those people around me that it wasn't going to beat me. I was going to be in control of this, and I was going to kind of push towards my dream no matter what. And he just reminded me of that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And
it was something in my mind just switched all of a sudden. Right, okay, it's Project Sheffield now. How are we going to do that?
Yeah.
Not it probably looks impossible now. I've not got long. Gave it my all. What more can I do? It was, what are we going to do? How are we going to put things in place so that I can achieve that goal? And he just reminded me of that, I think.
Well, from what I'm hearing, love the message.
Yeah.
It was more than swimming for you, wasn't it?
100%.
It was more than the medals for you. Obviously, that's
100%. And I think if I'd have walked away at that point, it almost would have been letting my condition beat me and say,
Yeah.
It was almost like a symbol of that, I think, to me. I just want to say no. I want to take this into my own hands. Like you say, it's more than just winning a gold medal. And I think the Paralympics, like I say, really, really encapsulates that. It's not just gold medals. It's what that can do for your life, to other people's lives, what changes that can bring. For me, after that kind of 10-minute period, it was right. I'm not letting this beat me. We're gonna find a way.
Well, it's great how you've recalled that moment.
Yeah.
That has sort of been something that you're really proud of.
Yeah.
That obviously Glenn's been a massive part of.
100%.
If it weren't for Glenn, obviously you would most likely walked away, just emotion wise.
Yeah.
So take us to the moment then, when you won your gold medal.
Yeah.
Take us sort of through that. If you can remember, obviously I know it might have been a bit of a blur.
Yeah.
Getting on the platform ready to go, hitting it, how close was it, what was, just so people in the audience can be like, this is what I was doing. Obviously I know you said you did like the 400 metre relay, all that stuff, but let them know what sort of race you was doing, where you came, what was your time, what was everybody else's time.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be really good to sort of relive that.
Yeah, so I guess even a bit before kind of race day and competition time. So we all kind of got together as a team. We went into what's called holding camp. So we were in Manchester for, I think it was probably about 2 weeks before we then moved on to London, moved into the village and things. So we went into holding camp. We all came together as a team. And that in itself was special because I'd not experienced that really to that level before. And we were kind of building that bubble. Like we were a team, obviously got all the support staff were staying with us in Manchester. And we were just putting those final little preparations on it, going through our taper and things like that. And obviously we're all really excited to move into the village and actually go to the games. So we'd finished our holding camp. We moved into the village. We were probably in the athletes' village for, I don't know, maybe a week before competition started. And it truly is a bubble. It's really strange. You're completely kind of disconnected from the rest of the world,
especially
rest of society.
Athletes' village. I'm like, what?
Honestly, mate, it's a crazy environment, and it can eat you up if you let it.
Okay.
But essentially, it is a big bubble. There's blocks of flats where obviously all the athletes are staying. There's a massive food hall. All our training venues were in the village. So, effectively, we didn't leave this kind of little bubble for weeks.
Yeah.
obviously didn't pay for food, little things like that. It was very strange, but race day came around. I was racing on day 2. So
this is London, right?
Yes, this is London. Okay, which was nice. So I kind of got a feel of it. Got to watch first day of competition, and I got to go to the pool, warm up. While all the competition stuff was going on, and then my 400 freestyle, which is kind of one of my main events, was on day 2. And so when we talk about a taper, and obviously you will understand that obviously with your background. So when we're getting ready for a big competition, obviously training load, training intensity starts to come down. So obviously we're feeling fresher. It's an art and a science, definitely. Right, it's definitely both of those. And his famous quote from Bob Bowman that a taper's a bit like a haircut. Never know if it's any good till it's too late. I'll be honest, at this point, I was feeling like we'd got my taper wrong and I'd not rested enough. So I was feeling a bit sluggish in the water, and that's really kind of normal for taper. You go through a mental roller coaster because you're physically kind of changing and consolidating what you've done. But I still felt sluggish the day of the race. So I swam the heat, qualified for the final. I felt awful, to be honest with you. I think I qualified like 4th into the final.
Right.
Again, I was quite down at this point, and it was Glenn that kind of propped me up. Again, similar kind of messaging as to when I broke my wrist. It was, you've made it through to the final. That was the job. That was the purpose of the heats. We've ticked that box. Let's just focus on the final. Let's just give it everything. No fear, and let's see where we end up. So kind of went back to the village. That period was a blur, I think, from heats and finals. Yeah,
I was going to say, because it's a bit of a wait. Was it just a couple of days or?
No, we're talking hours. Yeah, so the heats were in the morning.
Okay.
And then the final, I think, I probably swam, I don't know, like 10 a.m. in the morning was my race, and then probably like 6 p.m. in the evening. So it was all on the same day.
Oh wow, okay.
So it was going back to the village, obviously preparing, making sure you're fueling up, getting rest and everything. So that period goes very quickly. And you kind of, thrown back into the cauldron. Obviously it's finals, it's a different environment, it's very intense, the floodlights are on, the crowd is full.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I was a bit scared at that point. It was my first experience.
How many people was watching, would you say?
There's about 18,000 in the crowd for London. And I remember so we go to the court, what's called the call room before you race, obviously where you'll congregate before you lead out to the blocks. And in London, it was kind of like a bit of a trail. Like there was a first one that you would check into at a certain time, and then they move you around, and then eventually you walk out, and obviously where the cameras are and things. And I remember kind of as we were getting closer to race time and we were moving closer and closer, the crowd was so loud you could feel it. Like the floor was like shaking. It was so loud.
Same atmosphere.
It was just building and building and building. It was incredible. Incredible looking back, and you just kind of in that moment. I think it's just about it's all about here, because obviously the physical stuff's done. Like you've done all the work. You've got that in the bank. It's keeping strong up here and not letting external things kind of affect that bulletproof mindset. Right, I've got my plan. I'm going to swim my race this way.
Yeah.
Like I said, obviously control the controllables. Absolutely. You've got that kind of lane. That's your space. Do your thing. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. So I went into the race. I swam relatively well. I think I was just off my best time. And I got a silver medal, and my brother got a bronze. So first experience, nice. Paralympic final. Obviously, I managed to get a medal and stand on the podium.
Well done, man.
Yeah, really, really special.
Yeah. So what was it? Yeah. So you say it's special, but what was sort of like? Because again, I mean, just to sort of so the audience can understand, it's a lot of time, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you talk just to digress a little bit, just in terms of on an average week, how many hours would you say you was in the pool?
So I would do usually about 9 swim sessions in a week.
Okay.
So obviously it's 7 days in a week, so that means double sessions on a few days. So And that's something I was doing even like way back to the school days.
Right, okay.
I was going swimming, early doors in the morning, and then obviously going on to school and then training in the afternoon. So so about 9 swim sessions a week, lasted about 2 hours each, so about 18 hours in the pool.
Yeah.
And then obviously you've got strength and conditioning around that. So I did two S&C sessions a week as well, physio, massage, all those kind of things. So I think all in all, I was probably doing about 25, 26 hours a week of training.
It's just, I think it's just like that. Just, it's crazy, like it's intense, right?
It is, yeah.
And then all the time, like obviously qualifying, obviously we know the Olympic Games or Paralympic, should I say, games every 4 years.
Yeah.
So to be able to train all that time and try and aim for qualification, you don't know, it's whatever goes on the day.
Yeah.
And then to be able to achieve the silver, did that give you such a buzz to then like want more and go for it more? And
I'll be really honest actually, and obviously I've kind of gained perspective on it. I don't feel this way about this particular race now. I was really disappointed. In that moment because I wanted to win the gold.
Yeah.
And I was ranked first in the world and things. And I remember it vividly, kind of going back to the village and speaking to my mum on the phone, and she was obviously like really hyped and on top of the world.
Yeah, got silver.
Yeah, and Sam obviously got the bronze, and I was gutted, to be honest. I was gutted.
Yeah.
And she talked me around a little bit at the time and said, "Look, you've got more races to come. Just
was that your first? Was that your first one? First Olympic game?
Yeah, first Paralympic race.
Okay. It's not
first
bad
everything.
though, is it? That's brilliant,
man. Yeah, and I think looking back now, obviously the wrist break and the physical kind of repercussions of that, I'm more understanding of that now. But I think particularly with the 400, as I said earlier, we didn't leave any stone unturned between those kind of 4 years from 2012 to 2016. That gave me the motivation to really go on. I went on a nice little run after that, kind of Europeans, Worlds, Commonwealths, and then obviously the Paralympics, where I was winning, and I built that momentum up. Had I won the gold in London, obviously we'll never know, but maybe I wouldn't have gone on that run in the 400 kind of in the subsequent years. But yeah, I mean, looking back, I'm really, really proud of it. Yeah, it's a special moment, very special moment.
Definitely. I mean, obviously, I know as a young, aspiring, driven, competitive athlete, 100% you're going to be. You don't want anything but the top.
100%.
You don't just put all that time, energy, and obviously with your coach to be. Yeah. But to still make the podium, obviously, is a massive achievement. So, go on.
No, I was just going to say, actually, just kind of further to that. So I did a relay, which we didn't medal in, but I got 3 main races. So the 400, which I'd already swam, 100 backstroke, and the 200 individual medley, in that order. So I'd done my 400, and then I got probably like 4 or 5 days where I wasn't competing. So I've got a decent amount of time. And obviously, like I said, the village can be quite an overwhelming, tiring. It can be an all-consuming environment because it's very intense.
Yeah.
And it got to quite later on in the competition, because it's a 10-day competition, the swimming at the Paralympics, so it's quite intense. My next race was the 100 backstroke, and I'll be honest with you, I was a bit knackered at this point, like mentally, physically drained. I swam in the morning, qualified for the final, which was fine. I was one of the early racers in the programme for that day. So when I was warming up, the pool is pretty empty, so like the crowd hadn't started coming in and things like that. And I'd gotten out of the pool, again, feeling a little bit tired, a bit kind of, not down and dejected, but lacking energy, to be honest with you.
Right.
And from the side of the pool, I could hear this kind of someone shouting, "Ollie, Ollie." And I looked up, and it was a group of my friends that had supported me all the way on those days back when I got my diagnosis, and obviously close friends through school. They'd got tickets, surprised me. I didn't know that they'd got tickets.
Epic.
And they'd come down to London to support me. And it gave me that boost, and then I went on to win a bronze in the backstroke, which I probably wasn't expecting to do. But it's just little moments like that for me, particularly London 2012, thinking back, that mean the most.
Yeah.
That mean the most, because that in that period of my life, I think I really leaned on those people around me the most, just because of everything that was going on. And yeah, to have those people in the crowd to support me that were there on those dark days was really special for me.
Yeah, you can really feel that, obviously, and that's amazing that you share that, because the support from family, the support from friends, just shows that it's important, even like as an athlete, right? Human. At the end of the day,
100%.
you know, I mean, obviously, I know people could probably but you must be resilient, you know, you must. But actually, at the end of the day, you have emotions as well. You know, you have down days, like you say, you have bad days. You just want someone to put the arm around you and say, 100%. Look, you've got this, or like you say, for your friends to surprise you and come and watch it.
Amazing. And people obviously they see the result every 4 years.
Yeah.
But everything that kind of goes into that, you know, the days at training where it's not gone well, or the days where you're just not feeling good, or you feel. And I think something that's unique with sport that you perhaps don't find in a lot of other areas is you have to live it 24/7. Like, it's not a case of you go to the pool, do your training, forget about it, I'll go and have a Big Mac now, and it's 24/7. You've got to live it and breathe it. But yeah, it's I think looking back, like I say, those little memories, those little things almost mean more to me than the medals, because it is about the journey, about you know, overcoming those struggles and the people that help me do that.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. And obviously, you know, you can tell the way you say it, it's genuine. It's not just sort of like saying it. But just, obviously, I know we'd spoken before, and you have brought one of the medals.
I have, yes.
A couple of medals with you, the gold.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm going to be like, you got to show the guys who's watching it.
Absolutely.
But share a little bit about sort of the race itself, or what it was.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll start with London. So I just brought my golds.
Of course, you got it,
So so this was obviously my gold medal in London. So I swam this race the day after the backstroke. So when my friends came to see me, I knew I'd got a really good chance of winning. To be honest with you, I was European champion from the following year, and ranked first in the world for that year. But obviously, the experience of the 400, nothing's promised. You can't bank on anything at the games. So, I went into it really positive mindset. I was determined to get that gold. Obviously, it was the last race of my program. So, went into it, gave it everything. Broke the European record. I've had kind of the race of my life at that point. That was as fast as I could go. The best performance that I could deliver. And I managed to get my hand on the wall first, which was, amazing. Absolutely incredible.
Oh, brilliant. And do you know, when you look at that now, what you know, you look at that medal, what's like one thing strikes you? It comes to mind.
I think particularly when I look at the London ones, it takes me back to those days when I got my diagnosis. Okay. I think, honestly, it takes me back to those days, and those dark days where just the simplest of things was a challenge. It was a real difficulty for me. And just actually thinking how far I have come. I think for me, that's when I look at this, particularly, thinking back to that kid that didn't know what opportunities he was going to get, didn't know, you know, what his life was going to look like. Actually, I've overcome that. I've made a positive out of a negative situation, and I've really kind of, made a difference. And hopefully, passing it on to the next generation, people will have watched that, or maybe heard my story or whatever, and that might have inspired them to go after that thing that, you know, maybe they was holding back from, or, you know, they got an obstacle in the way that kind of didn't want to go for it. For me, that's the power of sport. That's the power of the Paralympics, really. It's medals are nice and records are nice, but it's
story, isn't it?
It's the story, it's the changes and the positive effect that it has on people's lives, and that kind of, like I say, it can really be a vehicle to push change, push people's kind of opinions and kind of society's, you know, views and things on disability. I think that everything encompassed is what I think about when I look at this medal, to be fair.
Oh, brilliant. I'm so glad that sort of, I mean, it's been repeated, you know, sort of about the people, about your challenge that you had. You've turned it into a superpower, that medal. So that's London. You was 19 at the time? 18?
17.
17.
I was 18, probably in the October, so it was like maybe a month after the games. Yeah, so I was still 17.
Gosh,
And I
yeah.
think probably thinking back, and this is something I would say to younger athletes. One of my big regrets for London 2012 was I didn't take the time to just step back and just appreciate the enormity of what I was doing and kind of the occasion. I was just so fully focused in it, and thinking about what I was doing performance wise. I didn't think about, actually, this is amazing. I'm a part of this.
You didn't slow down, check in a little bit. Yeah, okay, take it all in.
So, for instance, and this is really bad. I'm quite embarrassed about this actually, but I didn't take a single photo while I was at London 2012. Which is crazy. Thinking back now, it's just crazy. Yeah. But I was so kind of...
Did anyone ask about a photo? Did anyone say take a photo?
Tunnel vision. No. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I was just so focused.
You wanted to probably, obviously now I'm not saying you want to capture the moment and obviously look back, but I'm sure there's... Yeah. They've got photos, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean...
I know what you mean, though.
To be fair, like obviously there's official photos and things like that, which is good, but... And other athletes took more behind the scenes photos, but I just think back and think, gosh, I was so focused, I was so kind of concentrating on what I was doing, trying to win one of these. I didn't really think about that at the time. But so that was London.
Did your life change after that? Achieving a gold medal, what changed in your life after that moment?
Good question. Not that much, to be honest with you. I think it probably, in my mind, solidified me on the world stage. Yeah. In a way. I think it really gave me that belief and that confidence that I belong in this circle. Good. Yeah. Which was good, but not really, to be honest with you. I had 2 weeks out the water after London, and then I was straight back into my routine. I went on to sixth form after that, so it was quite normal, to be honest with you. Yeah. Which, again, going back to Glenn, looking back now, he orchestrated it perfectly, because there was a lot of kind of external stuff going on and a lot of opportunities coming, but he kept me focused on what it was about and what we were doing. It was my swimming. So so the years, I guess, from this to these, we left no stone unturned. We left absolutely no stone unturned, and I think looking back on these medals in Rio, probably what I'm most proud of is more my performance as opposed to in London. I can confidently say, and look in the mirror, I did absolutely everything that I could to be the best athlete that I could have been on that day. And for that kind of 10 day period of the Paralympics. So I think for me in Rio, that's something that I'm really proud of.
Yeah. So in Rio, you got 2 golds there.
Yes. Yeah. Two golds. So I got gold in the same event, 200 medley, as I won in London.
Did you beat the time?
Yes, I did.
You did? Okay, so you performed better,
Yeah, so I actually broke two world records in Rio. Wow. Yeah, 2 world records as well.
Nice.
Which is something I wanted to achieve, because obviously winning a gold medal is amazing, but to say you broke a world record, under the greatest of pressure, you delivered that performance. I think for me that was something that was important. And again, another story that not that many people know, but I guess just shows how sport can come back around and that kind of inspiration piece. There was an athlete that my brother swam against more. He was more my brother's era, called Peter Leake from Australia. He was one of my inspirations growing up, because he was a great medley swimmer. He was a world record holder and things like that. Actually, I had one of his old swimming caps that I said to Sam, I was like, can you get one from Peter? I want one of his swimming caps. So, when I was really little, I got this Australian swim cap from Peter. And the 200 medley in Rio was on the last day of competition. So again, I was physically, mentally tired. And I gave it everything that I had. The Chinese swimmer that came second, he went under the old world record as well. So it was quite a close race. But what made it even more special, so after I'd finished my race and kind of got my medal and things like that and done the medal presentation, went behind the scenes to where obviously we were warming up and the warm-up pool was. And Peter Leake's old coach, I didn't know this at the time, but she was actually part of the Australian swim team still. So she was there. And she came up to me and obviously said, congratulations on the gold, congratulations on breaking Peter's world record. I know he'll be really happy that you've broken it, and obviously you keep kind of moving that forward. So again, it was like a full circle moment for me. Yeah. You know, all those years ago, being inspired by having his swim cap, to actually breaking his world record and his coach being there. It was really.
That's a nice moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I think you can see obviously how much sports given to you, but if you look at it from a point of view, obviously the medals aside, obviously everything you've accomplished, what would you say that swimming has given to you in life to take with you?
Wow, yes, great question. To be honest with you, it's given me everything. It's given me everything.
Yeah.
You know, thinking back to that young kid that was, you know, going through that tough time with my diagnosis and not really knowing what opportunities I would get. And I think it's on the disability piece, you know, it's people with disabilities obviously don't always get those opportunities. So thinking back to that kid, you know, with a lot of uncertainty, and think, actually, we've been around the world, we've been to some amazing places, we've met some amazing people. I think I say it's given me everything, but if I was to pinpoint one thing, I think it would be the people that I've met along the way. Really? Yeah, definitely.
See that for me is it's refreshing, but it's not what I hear a lot of in sport. Yeah. You hear sort of not that, like you meet sort of fake people through the time, because like they're all your best friend. I'm talking from a personal experience. So like you have they're friends with you when they're in it, but sort of like you're soon forgotten about.
Yes,
if that makes sense. But I think you said it quite well throughout this episode about the community, the sort of acceptance, 100%. The sense of belonging with the the Paralympic community, sort of letting you in and going, here's my story, here's your story, we're in this together. And I think that's fantastic, even though you're competing against each other.
100%, yeah. And I think your community is a key word there. I think it embodies the Paralympics. It's people overcoming physical challenges to achieve amazing things. And like you say, we're all in it together. I think that community feel about the Paralympics is very unique.
Yeah.
Not just my immediate team, but like say, those other athletes. But I think I was really fortunate that I'd built that team around me that were really strong and they wanted the best for me. When it came down to it, I knew that my team had my back as Ollie as a person.
Yeah.
Like, take the athlete side away. If I turn around to Glenn before Rio and said, you know what, Glenn, this is not what I want to do, I want to walk away from it, I know he would have supported that.
That's amazing.
And going into something like that, knowing that your team, they're not just bothered about these, it's more than that.
Wow, okay.
Was really powerful for me.
Well, that's again, it's very unheard of. Yeah. Because it is always about making them look good as well as you look good. Like they're using you as the vehicle to 100%. Give them that, I helped so-and-so. But obviously you're sharing, actually, my experience wasn't that. My experience was, like you just said, if you was to turn around and say, look, it's not for me, I'm done, sort of thing, it would be... Yeah. They'd be supportive. I think that's brilliant.
100%. Yeah, it was 100% a team effort. And, even thinking back to the early days of my parents and, the support that they gave me, driving me to the pool at 5 a.m. in the morning and things like that. Those things aren't necessarily normal. They're not a given, I think. Yeah. So I was just really fortunate with the people around me in that community. I know it's obviously something that's really important to you as well, but it's massively important to me, that community, those, the people around me. Yeah. And it's like I say, it's about that journey. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, you can tell that, and just so we're sort of getting towards the end, and obviously I know we've spoke heavily about your sport, which is brilliant, and there's so many good bits here that I know the guys watching this and listening back will take so much away from. But there's just a little piece that I want to talk about, because so becoming a dad back in 2023 has definitely been challenging at times. Being on this entrepreneur journey, having multiple businesses, it can be tough, but it doesn't have to be. One way to kick off your personal development journey is nestled in the heart of Montenegro. Syro Boca Place offers more than just a lifestyle experience. It is the ultimate active lifestyle hotel. Whether you're looking to rejuvenate in their state-of-the-art recovery lab, take a dip in the 25-meter half Olympic pool with a retractable roof, or explore the stunning trails of Boca Bay, there is something for everyone. and if you're like me, who wants to stay active and experience what is on offer. So if you're looking to elevate your travel experience and feel better than when you arrived, to get in on the experience, head over to www.cyrohotels.com. Because I think, you know, anybody watching this that's got kids that are going through competitive sport or a hobby that is very, very time consuming, you know, it's full-time commitment sort of thing. When did you know that swimming was coming to an end for you?
Yeah.
And how, I know we spoke about this, and I know the loss of identity, like, oh my God, what do I do next? Where did it go from there? How did you know what to do next?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, to be fair, like I said to you earlier, mate, we could do a full podcast on this.
Even if it was just a brief summary.
So, so swimming's a relatively young sport anyway. So every athlete has a shelf life, and you know that kind of going in. But I think it's better now, but it's not something I thought about whilst I was in the sport and actually swimming. And it's something that I'm really passionate about now, and kind of encouraging young athletes to look at themselves a little bit more holistically and not just, you know, Ollie the swimmer, you know, Luke the football player. It's when you take that away, what is there? What are you about? What are your kind of, you know, your morals, your ethics? You know, what is values, it that makes you? What do you like doing? What you're interested in? And coming to kind of the end of my career, I knew it was probably going to end either at the trials for Tokyo or after Tokyo. Like, those were the two cut-off points where I knew sort of where I knew it was going to end at that point. And it was something, I think it was something inside me that firstly knew, okay, I've achieved what I want to achieve in the sport. I've done what I want to move on and do something else. It was a part of that. So during COVID, obviously, everything shut down. You know, first lockdown, there was no sports, no anything. And second and third lockdown, obviously, we had the elite athlete dispensation. Football started up and all those things. So we could train again, but it had to be at our national centre, which is in Manchester. So, and I'll be honest, my mental health at this point wasn't great. I think a lot of it, kind of looking back, was the uncertainty about what's coming next. I knew it was coming to an end. But my mental health wasn't particularly great at this point. So it was kind of, I was faced with a decision. Okay, do I essentially move to Manchester, live in a hotel for the foreseeable, train at the swimming pool in Manchester in the centre, or do I call it a day and walk away at that point? And it would have been easy for me to walk away, especially, like I say, my mental health. But I took the decision to give it a go and to try. So I went to Manchester. I was living in a hotel. It was very strange.
I can imagine.
Kind of walking along the main road in Manchester. Obviously, it usually hustle and bustle, people going to work and businesses and things like that. It was dead. You know, the only thing that was open was Starbucks, and you had to be in and out. And it was just a really kind of weird time. Not just for me, but for everyone, I suppose.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though.
But I think that looking back now, that period, I'm so glad that I did it and I gave it a go. So I went to the trials for Tokyo, and I didn't quite make it. But I'm so proud of myself. Like, looking back now, again, something I'm almost more proud of than the medals. You know, in that moment where I was pretty low.
Yeah.
I didn't let it beat me. I gave it a go. I put myself out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Went into that environment in Manchester, and actually for my mental health at that point, it was the best thing. And looking back, I had a great time. I had a really good time.
Yeah.
Even though it didn't kind of end up how I wanted it to, going to Tokyo and going to another games. But yeah, I'm really kind of proud of myself that I gave it a go and put myself in that uncomfortable situation. So obviously after that, I decided to hang up my goggles and say, okay, that's it. I'll be honest, I got no idea what I wanted to do next. And like I say, I'm really passionate about this, kind of encouraging young athletes to look at themselves more holistically. Yeah. Spend that time to explore yourself outside of your arena, outside of your sport, because it's not going to last forever.
No.
And that bedrock of your identity, you know, it's so important in everything that we do in life, and you know, moving forward, if you've got that really solid foundation, it makes that transition so much easier. So after I'd finished swimming, and I'll be completely honest, I spent a bit of time reconnecting with friends and
Sure.
making up on lost time. But you know, like we've spoken about, I was going out every single weekend, like smashing more alcohol than I'd ever done in my entire life.
Yeah, letting loose.
Yeah, which I needed that to a certain extent.
Yeah, release a bit. Yeah, you'd.
But it got to the point where it was an escape for me.
Right.
It was an escape. I was still living at home at this point, and there was no kind of like financial pressure. There was no pressure for me to find that next thing. And yeah, I was just using it as a bit of an escape, to be honest with you. And I think it just got to a point where, you know what, I need to just strip everything back and really just go back to basics.
Yeah.
Because I was at a point where I didn't even know what I enjoyed anymore. I didn't know what I liked.
Right.
And I think that's a really scary place to be.
I think a lot of people relate to that.
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, and it's scary, isn't
what do I
it?
do when I'm older? You know what I mean? But that had been a massive part. Yeah.
100%. And like I said, I'd not explored that whilst I was swimming, which is something that I say I regret. I'm happy where I am now, but I would encourage athletes to explore that in much more detail. Who you are away from the field of play. I think it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
It's so important. So I spent a bit of time, soul searching. I tried a few different things, and my partner Emily, she's been great in this whole kind of transition, and she never got to experience what it was like with Ollie the swimmer.
Okay.
Which helped in a way.
Yeah, of course.
So we were
know that really.
Yeah. So once I'd kind of got myself in a better place mentally, she was really that bedrock for me to go and explore myself again. What is it I enjoy doing? What is it that I want for my future? What's important for me? What are my values? What do I want to bring to the world? And it sounds a bit fluffy and things like that, but it's so important. I think our why in everything that we do, it drives everything. If you've not got a strong why, if you've not got a real kind of deep-rooted reason why you're doing what you're doing, I think that's when it becomes really tough.
Yeah.
So she gave me that space to go and explore what it was that I wanted to do. Tried a few different things, did a lot of work on myself, a lot of kind of reflecting what I wanted to achieve next, and what I wanted that next step to look like. And then kind of ended up on the financial advisor route, and not looked back since.
Fantastic, mate. I mean, obviously, just hearing that, I think is really key, just for the guys listening, about the sort of not planning your exit, but at least exposing yourself throughout, just to slowly build that. Know that, like you say, it's got a shelf life on it. It's not going to be forever. I love that part where Emily came into your life, where she didn't come in when you was the swimmer and be a part of that, because I mean that must have felt so refreshing and nice. And I honestly, it just brings me back when I had all I got known for football, and I sort of went out on a cruise ship and they didn't know anything, and it was just a nice sort of like,
you've almost
you
got all that expectation off of your back, and
it's that weight, you just feel free. So look, Ollie, I know we've not spoken much about the financial advisor route, but just to sort of conclude this now then, so you talk about your why. Yeah. What is your why with financial planning? Yeah, it's a great
question. I think what I found, obviously I enjoy the technical side of it.
Yeah.
I really do enjoy that side of it, but for me, everybody that I speak to, all the clients that I speak to, they have a story, and that's really kind of interesting to me. And we talk about kind of goal-based financial planning, and everything we do with clients, that's kind of the driving factor. Is what do you want to achieve? What do you want to get out of your life? What's important to you, and really kind of digging a bit deeper into that, as opposed to this cash going, this investment, very kind of like high level stuff. It's more about the person and planning the financial stuff around that. What are the goals that they want to achieve? But I love it, just kind of speaking to so many different people from different walks of life, like I say, different stories, and just learning. I think it's so important for us, as human beings, to just keep learning from people, their stories and their experiences. just loving it so far.
Yeah, good. You can tell, mate, and it's nice to probably have that. Well, you're still taking that holistic approach with how your mindset was being about the people, the community, but you're now doing this with 100%. Helping people with the planning and the storytelling.
Yeah, and I'm still doing a little bit of coaching as well, so I've still got
in the swimming
got kind of like that touch point with the sport still, which is important to me.
Yeah.
Because it's, obviously the next generation coming through. It'd be great to see someone else from Mansfield, go to Olympic Paralympic Games, or for me, that's the true legacy. And for anybody that goes to Watermeadows in Mansfield, they'll see me on the wall and things like that.
Nice.
And it's obviously nice for me to have that, but that's almost now I'm kind of letting go. That's not for me. That's for other people now to inspire them, motivate them to go on and write their story.
Absolutely,
And that's something that I'm really passionate about, and I think is really important. Kind of passing it on.
Yeah, you've got strong values. You've definitely done things from hearing you today as well. You're doing things the right way. Such a genuine way as well, which is it's nice that you're going the deep, and it's not just being, like you say, the surface, the filtered level. So
100%.
You're an inspiration, buddy. Like,
Thanks
absolutely, like genuinely are. It's been great to have you sitting in our studio. I know Ollie's behind the camera as well, just sharing the story. I know so many people, future generations, current generations, early generations watching this down the line will take so much from it. I do have one more question though.
Yeah, sure.
It's the last one.
Yeah, it's fine.
Actually, no, I think there's another after that. But in terms of yourself, so it's what we ask every guest on the podcast. Mm-hmm. What does mastering your life mean to you, Ollie?
Wow, it's a big question. It's a big question. I think I'm probably going to take it back to that quote that I've already said in the podcast, and what John Atkinson, the performance director, said to me, because it was so pivotal.
Right.
It's about controlling the controllables. It's about controlling what you can control to build the life, the world, the people around you that you want, and that are going to serve you and feed you going forward to achieve what you want to achieve and get what you want out of life. I really, although I was in an individual sport, and obviously it's me on the block in the pool doing it.
Yeah.
It was a team effort.
Yeah.
And I fully appreciate that. So I think, fully being able to master your life is having that control over, different areas of your life, having, good people around you, good family, good friends that want the best for you, that are obviously going to push you forward to achieve what you want to achieve.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. No, I really like that piece. I really, really do. And it ties in so well. It sort of like concludes this episode, the controllables.
Absolutely.
Definitely a piece that the guys should take away with them as well.
Absolutely.
So, final sort of piece from me.
Yeah.
If people want to connect with you, have a conversation, find out more about what you do. Obviously, you said you're into financial planning now. Mm-hmm. Where's the best place they can contact you or find you?
Yeah, so I'm on kind of normal socials. At Ollie Hynd GB. So find me on there. I'm on LinkedIn, Ollie Hynd. Across all the socials. So if anyone wants to come and give me a follow, and if anyone's got any questions, from this episode, more than happy to kind of deep dive into that if anyone wants a bit more information. But
and I'll say as well, if anybody wants Ollie to talk at a public speaking gig or anything like that, get in touch because your story, mate, will inspire. But we'll look, that'll be in the show notes anyway, so people can just click and easily follow you. But last thing from obviously myself and Ollie. Hey, what an absolute pleasure. Yeah. Thank you so much, mate, for
no worries at all. Thank you very much for having me. It's been good.
Legend, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you once again for everyone tuning into this episode. From us, if you enjoyed it, if you've taken value from it, if you just tap a like, drop a comment below, and even better, support us on our journey moving forwards, just hit that subscribe button. We'd love to hear from you. Feedback is welcome, and look forward to seeing you on the next episode.